for my students if I become a teacher. So that kind of put the seed in my head, like, okay, I need to be a teacher. And I think I learned so much from the students and how they still thrive, even if they have 5 different elementary schools in one school year, going from different states to states. And that really put me into the position, like, if they can do it, if they can still thrive and they can still make it work for them, I can still become a teacher and be a para and really make a difference for the students. And that also drove me to make a difference in the dual language school with teaching Spanish and really showing the students the power of being bilingual in our school system, in our society and beyond. And here I am.
Thank you so much. Okay, then we'll do Alex and then Lorraine. And then I noticed that Jill is here. So Jill, when they are done, we're just starting by introducing yourselves and sharing a short intro to why you became a teacher.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to interrupt one more time to say I am recording in case there's folks who are not able to make it to the session. So I wanted to let you know that in case you don't want to be recorded, that you can turn your video off or do what you want to do. Okay.
Whether you are currently teaching.
Okay. Is it me next?
Hold on, Alex. Can we ask everyone to mute except for Alex? Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Alex.
Okay, as you said, mute, I muted myself. For me, when I first was in high school, I never thought of being a teacher. I thought of it as something that was, a low-paying job. And as a high schooler, you think about where is the money factor. And so I had family who was like, oh, be an accountant, go where the money is. And I realized probably about 10th grade year that in all my years of education, I never had a teacher of color until my 10th grade year. And it was my Spanish teacher. And that was really shocking for me to have of course, Miss Miller was an amazing Spanish teacher, but it was weird when I realized that, as a Mexican-American, I didn't see anybody like me in the teaching workforce. And so luckily in Renton, with working with the Public Educator Standards Board, they had the Recruiting Washington Teachers Grant come through. And so when I was in high school, I got the opportunity to be in the first program and got to learn kind of firsthand as a high schooler, specifically what it was to be a teacher. And I think I instantly fell in love and was like, okay, maybe teachers don't make the greatest amount of money, but it's not a bad living wage. And it's something I was passionate about. I love learning and I love working with kids. And I wanted to see a male teacher in elementary that was a male teacher of color. And so my passion was always elementary. And so getting to start as a para-educator and kind of be a para-educator in daytime and go to my evening classes to get my bachelor's degree, it gave me more drive because I got to learn how to teach a little bit more in a small group instruction role. But then it was interesting hearing younger kids actually see a male teacher of color and be like, oh, you look like me in the elementary level. And I think that just continued to spark my energy to be where I am today. So that's kind of what kind of floored that is really just kids and my own development of that. So, yeah.
Thanks, Alex. And then Lorraine, same question for you.
So in my family, there's a long history of women being teachers. So my mom's a teacher, but I never really thought of myself as one. But in high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I took up Team Read because I just wanted a job, and I ended up falling in love with teaching kids. So basically, I stayed in the program for 4 years. I ended up holding 3 different positions. And over there, after school, I found out about the ARE program, and that's what I'm in right now, and I'm trying to become a teacher now. So that's all.
Great. And the ARE program's in Seattle, right, Lorraine? And if you are interested in that, it's the Academy of Rising Educators. There's a session. You can go to the Seattle session, and I'm sure you will hear all about the ARE program. All right. Thanks, Lorraine. And then Jill, and I saw Mr. Jenkins joined us too. So Jill and Glenn, we are just introducing ourselves and just sharing a short amount about why you wanted to become a teacher.
Hi, sorry I'm late.
It's okay. No, you're great. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm Jill. Hi. I just wanted to be a teacher. I mean, it just all kind of was one of those things that like everything in my life was pointing me to being a teacher, but I was like, nah, that's not going to be for me. And then of course the right teacher in high school was like, hey, you would be good at this. You should try to be a teacher. And at my high school, we actually had teaching academy that was available for seniors, and we had ed career for younger kids. And so anyway, in my junior year, that teacher was like, you would be really good at this. You're a great candidate for it. Just try it. And I was just so honored that like another teacher wanted me to be a teacher. I was like, okay. And I ate that up, and here I am. Almost 20 years later. All it took was the right person to say it to me at the right time. And then once I started down that path, I was like, oh yeah, this makes perfect sense. I have naturally been like tutoring kids and was always put in babysitting roles, and it just was kind of a natural fit. I wouldn't say I was a natural teacher. I am very quiet for the most part. I don't like public speaking. So that was definitely like, there was a lot of growth there. But I think once you find the path that is right for you, you do kind of feel a draw to it, even if you're not like a natural. Like you don't walk into a classroom one day and you're just awesome with kids. It was just one of those things where even though I had to work at it, I just felt something inside me was like, everything just makes sense in this. So as you guys are going through everything too, I hope that that's a feeling that you feel, because I think on the inside, your intuition tells you that this is the right path for you.
All right. And Mr. Jenkins, Glenn, where are you?
I'm here.
All right.
Can everyone hear me? Okay, good. Teaching 10 years in the Auburn School District. I'm in actually the same district as Jill is in. What drove me to teaching was having my first child. I looked at my African-American son and I realized that he would not have a teacher that looked like him. So I am the type of person who doesn't like to complain. I like to do something about it. So I enrolled, and I was a telecom engineer. I had been a telecom engineer for 20 years. And I enrolled at Heritage, and here I am. And I can honestly say that without Heritage University and their framework that they use that's based around social justice, I would not be the type of teacher that I am today.
All right. Thank you so much. I'm so glad that you all came and shared your story. This is good. We are not going to have enough time for you to get to hear like everything from everybody, but on the program that you all received, a lot of our panelists included follow-up information. So you can email them or contact them if you have questions about their particular journey. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask one of them to answer a question. And if one of you just like really wants to answer this question, go ahead. What was a challenge that you overcame on your road to becoming a teacher? Does one of you feel like you want to have a good answer to that question? Oh, I'm just going to go with Mr. Jenkins. Go for it.
There's a huge barrier to African-American males becoming teachers. When I was in the teacher program, you have to observe other teachers. So you have to go to another school and get on the observation list. I was not allowed to be on any observation list. Every school that I went to asked me to run my fingerprints and to do a background check on me before I was allowed to even just observe a classroom. It wasn't, so that is a huge barrier, and that's the one that has got to stop. There is no background check for you to observe a classroom, especially if you're in a teacher prep program. The idea that someone would look at me as an African-American male and then first assume that I'm going to do some harm to children is an issue. So you have to be very, very tenacious about finding your observations. I was lucky enough that one of our professors at Heritage University actually teaches in Seattle, and he has got to be the greatest kindergarten teacher I've ever seen in my entire life. So he allowed me to observe his class. His name is Kevin Gallagher, by the way. And after I told the story, Heritage made a point to call all the schools to let them know that we actually have people of color that will be coming to your schools. So the idea that our profession is so lacking people of color that it is a non-starter for you to be one, right? So they look at you and go, there's no way you're trying to be a teacher because we don't have teachers of color. And that's the optics and the thing that we need to change.
Thanks, Glenn. Yasmin, Tanea, Lorraine, Jill, Alex, any one of you have an answer to that? Yasmin, go ahead.
One of the challenges for me was when I wanted to go to school and apply for a community college. I did not have my USA citizen at that time, neither my permanent residency. I was a temporary resident. So financial aid was not available for me. Any federal support was not available to me. So the only thing available to me was scholarships. So that's what I put my energy, because I knew that that was possible for me. So I applied as many scholarships possible. And that made a big difference. I probably did 20 at one, in the summer, and I got 2 of those 20, but they made a big difference because I knew my limitations of resources at that time. So that was a big struggle. And then another struggle, I was a para-educator. So finding the time, when do I go to school? So finding a program, I was living in Eastern Washington in Manson. So I had to drive about an hour away to Wenatchee to go to the closest community college. So that was also a challenge, but I found other students that were taking night classes or Saturday classes. So we carpool, we support each other. So I found a way along the way with other students. So I guess I overcame some of the challenges by looking out and asking other students, hey, who lives here, who's going, and just carpooling and making it possible. But also they became my best friends and support along the ways, and we'll share with each other. And then after that, we'll try to take classes together. So that made things easier. So we'll have classes the same night or the same class, and really build that community around me, help me and along the way. But money was a big challenge for me.
Thank you, Jasmine. I'm going to go ahead and the next question is related. And I think Jasmine and Glenn both started answering this. So for the rest of you, Lorraine, Jill, who am I missing? I can't see all your faces, sorry. But for the rest of you on our beautiful, Alex, on our beautiful panel, what were some resources that helped you along the way? Either resources that helped you achieve your goal or that helped you overcome challenges? Any of you want to jump in?
I do.
Okay, great. Or Tanea, yes.
Yeah, I mean, support, I think, is heavily needed, especially knowing that there is not a lot of people of color in education. And so really just through being a para to a student intern to a teacher and now as an admin, really trying to navigate and find those special people in each of these buildings. But I have to say, my number one support was you, Eileen, and the ECLC, because they really just gave me voice and power. And meeting Jill and Glenn and Yasmin and all these special people in that place gives you validation and power in that in itself. And just surrounding yourself with people like that, I mean, it really just helped me understand who I am, find out who I am as a Black woman, and then coming into spaces and owning that and not trying to code switch or do any of those things, but truly be my authentic self and bringing that into every space. So thank you.
Can I jump in there? That's you hit so many good points there, Tanea. I was gonna say that a lot of times in college, when you're still going through classes, there's a lot of need for code switching because they have a lot of rules, you have to dress a certain way, they want to present you as a person of their university, so you have to behave in a certain way. I think that that is a barrier in itself because it stops you from really being your authentic self when you're trying to apply for jobs and you're trying to get your foot in the door at places when you're observing and doing these things. So definitely what Tanea said about building like community and just networking. You need to be your own advocate. And like, even if you're not in that place where you feel like you're super confident in what you're putting out to the community, you need to say like, I am so-and-so, and this is my skill, and I'm good at this. I don't know if you guys can hear that. My kid's toy is going off for no reason. But that's a really big asset to kind of overcome those barriers, because otherwise you kind of get pushed into certain spots depending on how your professors see you, rather than you being able to choose and like owning what you're bringing to the table. So definitely networking, finding your people, and just advocate for yourself. When you meet someone in a district that has kind of aligned goals with you, you need to get in with them and do whatever it takes to say, hey, I would be an asset to you, because otherwise people will decide where you need to fit instead of you deciding.
Love that. Beautiful. And then Lorraine or Alex.
I can speak to this. So, I mean, part of what helped me through this is I think all of the panelists are completely 100% agree with what they had said. For me, I was lucky enough to have the Recruiting Washington Teachers Grant through the Public Educator Standards Board. And so we partnered with Central, Washington and Highline College. And so it was nice to, as a high school student, kind of have someone to guide me towards kind of success. What I realized in college is that nobody prepares you for college. And so as a first generation college student in my family, nobody knew how to help me with financial aid or any of that kind of stuff. And so having the resources through Highline and through Central were really helpful in really just ensuring that I could get where I wanted to go. Did it take me a long time? Definitely. Did I want to finish my degree in a typical 4 years? For sure. But I think with the supports in my own community, realizing, take it one step at a time. And if it takes you 4 years, cool. If it takes you 5, it took me 7 years to become a classroom teacher, but I've learned so much on that journey, and I've had so many, I think, meaningful connections from it that I think you really like Jen had said earlier, you really have to really think about how you network and connect with people, and just finding that in. I think I had a really great mentor teacher that really kind of helped me when I was getting ready to apply for jobs, that was there to support me, because as a job applicant, I'm used to applying like a normal, like regular job, but making a resume, those type of things, I wasn't prepared for. So I think, again, it's really those community connections you make and those supporters that are there for you.
Awesome. Lorraine, did you want to add anything about how you overcame any barriers?
Basically the same with networking and connecting with people, basically.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Our panelists are amazing, and we want to make sure you hear from the other resource folks that we have here with us to share information with you today. So can we all just give our panelists a round of applause, either with the emojis or out loud or jazz hands or whatever. Thank you so much, everyone. And Tanea's sharing information, contact information. So if you have follow-up questions, and then the program that we shared with you all also has contact info for a number of our panelists. If you want to get in touch with them, some of them put in their social media or their emails so that you can reach out to them. So panelists, thank you all so much. We so appreciate you. All right. We are going to move into the next piece of our program. Victoria Moreland, are you here? I think I saw your
You're
name.
breaking up.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, everyone? Am I good?
Yes.
Okay, great. Oh, I just got the internet connection unstable. notification. So apologies if I get wonky for a minute here. Victoria Moreland, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Yes, Victoria, this is a bit of me springing things on you. Did you see my email? Sorry, everyone, we're doing like a little side huddle.
Okay, I'll go ahead and take a look.
Okay, well, what I asked you in the email is, would you like to say hello before we kind of lean into the next piece and say anything?
Sure.
Okay, now that I put you on the spot, you will. I know. Sorry.
Oh, why, hello, everyone. I'm Victoria Moreland, and I work for the Professional Educator Standards Board as one of the associate directors. And so we are so pleased to be partnering. One of the things that we do at PSB is we work on the standards for educators, but we also have the wonderful opportunity to provide grants to grantees across Washington State to do wonderful work as the Puget Sound ESD is doing. So they are the backbone support for 7 school districts out there for growing their own educators. And part of the work that they're doing is this informational fair for individuals who are interested in becoming an educator. So it's great work as we look to diversify the educator workforce. It takes a lot of people to support and to do this work. So thanks, and then enjoy the informational fair. Take care.
Okay, thank you, Victoria. Appreciate that. Sorry for springing that on you at the last moment. I'm now going to introduce our next 2 speakers. And Karma, did you see my message? I made you the host, so now I think you have to make them co-hosts. Okay. So I will introduce them, and hopefully the technical things will be happening behind the scenes here. So, okay, fantastic, great. So I am really happy to introduce to you Musda Malik, who works with Victoria at Professional Educational Standards Board, and Nathan E. Lee, who is working with us at Puget Sound Education Service District. And they're both going to share with you a little bit about their role and what they do to help folks move along that pathway to their educational goals. So Musda and Nathan E., are you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Nathan, you want to go first? Oh, sorry, I thought to introduce ourselves.
Oh, yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Nathanie. It's great to see so many folks here joining us. I'm really excited to be here and to be able to work with or hopefully engage with all of you at some point. So like Eileen said, I just joined the PSESD team working as the navigator. So my role will be in connecting with those of you who are interested in becoming educators and want to connect with a particular district. And so my role will just be to kind of engage with you on that one-on-one level and to support you in that path. I was an elementary school teacher for 10 years, and that's core to my identity and really informs everything I do. And I'm also a teacher educator in various teacher ed programs at the University of Washington. So I'm really happy to be here and to meet you all.
Hi, I'm here sharing with Nathanie today. My name is Musda Malik. Thank you for the introduction, Eileen. And yes, I do work with Victoria at the Professional Educator Standards Board, or PESB, and Victoria summarized it perfectly what we do, educator standards and policy for certification. And we also administer grants to support districts and prep programs to do really cool work, like Victoria pointed out. So I'm really excited to be here today to share with you all some information, about what are the different pathways out there? What information might you need to know? Where might you find that information? What programs are out there for you to enroll and become a teacher? And also, where might you look for financial aid or financial support to, meet tuition requirements, things like that. So we're excited to share some of that with you today. Nathan, should I just go ahead and start on? Okay, cool. So I'm going to share a screen. And so we're going to start with kind of more broad information about, statewide, what are the different pathways to becoming a teacher more generally, so that you can kind of know what the big picture looks like. And then there's a website called teachwa.org, and let me type that into the chat. This is a website that has a bunch of information for, what are the different pathways? What do you need to know about them? Where do you find prep program information, preparation program information, things like that. So I'll kind of click through and sort of demonstrate how to use it, while I also share information that will hopefully be helpful to you. And like I said, it'll be more broad, and then Nathanie, it will jump in to share a little more specific information for your region. And then of course you have the district's sessions to go to after this to learn specifically, based on what district you work in, what's going to be relevant for you, what's going on, and what are the kind of supports that are available for you. So I am going to go ahead and start that screen share. Okay. Do you all see a screen share? Okay, I'm seeing some nods. Wonderful. Thank you for confirming. Okay, so this is teachwa.org. I included the URL in the chat. After I'm done talking, I'll throw it in again in case it gets lost in the feed. Oh, what's that?
Sorry,
that's okay. This website, I'll kind of walk through what the information is. So this is the landing page. When you come to the website, this is the information that's here. So on this first page, it kind of gives you some general information about what do I need to know. I'll point out 3 areas. So on this first page, there's information to learn the process. So how do you actually become a teacher, if that's something you want to do? You can learn about the profession at this link, and you can also learn more about Washington State and becoming an educator in Washington at this link. We're going to focus on this first link right here, learn the process. So I'm going to click this link. And once you land on this page, there are 3 big options here for you to choose from. You can learn more about pathways, so you can choose which pathway would be right for you. And then I'll get into what I mean by pathway in just a moment, because that might be a question that you have lingering. There's a link to find a preparation program if that's what you're ready for. And there's a link to learn about the requirements for certification. Like, what are kind of the boxes that you have to check, so to speak, in order to get a teacher certificate. And let's see, so I am going to start with explore pathways. On this page, it'll give you a little general blurb about what this page is for. If you, so there are 5 options listed going horizontally from left to right about asking you, where are you right now? So what's your starting point based on where you are now to become a teacher? So are you someone who hasn't completed any college yet? Maybe you just graduated high school, or maybe you're in your career and haven't pursued a college degree yet. Are you a career changer? So someone who, maybe you got a college degree already, you're in something not related to education, and now you decided to switch careers to be a teacher. Are you a district employee, which is, I think this is most of our audience today, is folks who are paraeducators or instructional assistants. I don't know if there are any conditionally certificated teachers in the audience who are also interested in full certification. So this would apply to you as well. And then there's information for people who are military veterans and for people who are out of state. And so I actually, instead of clicking on these, I'm actually going to scroll down. And on this blurb right here, it points out that there are kind of 2 broader routes for becoming a teacher. So there's traditional route and alternative route. So we're going to click on learn more to kind of get the difference, like what's the difference between traditional and alternative. So traditional route to teacher certification refers to a 4-year or a bachelor's or master's degree program. It's also a teacher certification program. So if you want to get a bachelor's and teacher cert, you take 4 years to do that. Or if you wanted to get like an MIT, like a master's in teaching degree and your teacher certificate, you could go that way. And those are considered traditional routes. Alternative routes are designed for people who don't necessarily want to get enroll in a 4-year bachelor's program to get a teacher cert because maybe they don't need to do that, or people who don't necessarily want to earn their master's degree, but they do want to earn their teacher certificate. So alternative routes kind of offer 4 different broad routes for people to kind of go towards that pathway or go towards that teacher certification to kind of meet their needs and fit what they want to do. So when you scroll down on this page, it'll show you all the routes. There are multiple options here, but I'm going to talk about just 3 of them, and I'll click on them as I talk about them so that you can kind of follow along. And also, if you want to follow along like on your own on the webpage too, if you'd rather do that on your own right now while I'm talking and like look at it yourself, that's cool with me. So feel free to do that using the URL in the chat. So I'll start with alternative route 1. This is a route that's designed, so statewide alternative route 1 programs are designed for district staff like paraeducators who have an associate degree already. And this route allows people who are paraeducators with an associate to earn their bachelor's degree and their teacher certificate. This route takes typically about 2 years to complete for all your coursework and your student teaching. Give or take a little bit, you know, depending on the exact program. And also right now with COVID, there's, you know, just an asterisk on everything. Sometimes things are taking a little bit longer right now because COVID is slowing things down. So just keep that in mind as you're going forward and planning out your next steps. So I'll just mention that. So that's what Route 1 programs are. And of course, so you would graduate with a bachelor's degree, teacher certificate, and at least 1 endorsement in a shortage area. And so we'll get into that a little bit more, you know, what is an endorsement, if that is something you're not yet familiar with. So that's Route 1. Route 2 is designed for district staff who have a bachelor's degree. Route 2 programs are typically a certificate only pathway. So you can, if you already hold a bachelor's degree or higher, you don't have to earn another degree in order to get your teacher certificate. You can enroll in a program that just allows you to get your teacher certificate if that's what you want to do. Of course, if you do still want to pursue a master's degree, that's great. Of course, there are program options out there for that. And so that information is on this website as well. And Route 4 programs, I will briefly mention, are for district employees who have a limited certificate, like a conditional cert or an emergency substitute certificate. And this program also can take, you know, about 1-ish year to complete, maybe a little bit more, to get a teacher certificate. This is also typically a certificate only pathway designed for someone who already holds a bachelor's degree in whatever content area. So for all of these, it's, you know, you don't have to have a bachelor's degree already in education. That's okay. So those are 3 of the 4 routes that are specifically focused on people who are already district staff. And if you are in between, so for example, maybe you almost have an associate degree or you don't have an associate degree yet, there's information on this website about some steps you can take. And of course, you'll probably hear from district presentations later when you go to those about, you know, what are the specific options for you based on where you are right now and where you want to go. So once you kind of get a feel for which route is right for you, the next step is to explore programs and figure out where do you want to enroll. And of course, part of the purpose of today is help you also figure out, based on what district you're in, is there a prep program that might be a better fit for you? So that is also helpful information to look out for. So this is, like I said, general. So you can kind of get all the information here as a starting point and then narrow it down from there. So I'm going to skip some of this information at the top and scroll down. This is all of the approved preparation programs all over the state of Washington. Since we're talking about alternative route programs right now, I'm going to click on this link right here in this blue box, search for an alternative route program. And it brings you to this page that is basically a search tool. In this list down here, there are all the alternative route preparation programs listed. And I won't scroll all the way down because I know it can be awful to look at on a screen when someone else is just scrolling. But it tells you, you know, who's providing the program, a little description about the program, which specific districts or regions they might work with, and the endorsements that they offer as part of that program. And on the right is pop-out box that tells you a little bit more information And we actually identified a little bit of a malfunction with this webpage. It's usually easier to click on the link, so you can just go to the college's webpage to get more information about their program. And so our web person, his name is Cameron, he is working to help me fix that. So that will get better soon, hopefully, but I just wanted to mention that soon it will be easier to click on the webpage. And then you'll see these filters at the top. So you can filter by the endorsements you're interested in, by the district, by the route that you're looking at. So if you're, you want Route 1, you can uncheck all of them and then just check Route 1. And then it'll show you which ones are offering Route 1. And then it also has delivery method, what time of day. And one thing I'll mention is many of these programs that are focused on Route 1, 2, and 4 for district employees design their programs so that you can be an employee and keep as much of your working hours as possible at the same time. And then depending on the district you're in, that can also vary. So something to keep in mind and ask about from your district. And of course, Nathan, as your navigator, will also be a great resource for you to help navigate that. So that's basically the information. One other place I want to point out on the Teachwell website before I stop saying so many words is, let's see, I'm going to go back one, and I'm going to go back one more. Okay, so is to get information about what are the requirements to get certified. So we're going to click Explore Certification, and there's information about endorsements, like what is an endorsement, and there's a link to find out all the different types of endorsements. There's information about the assessments that are required for teachers or for people to become a certificated teacher. And there's information about student teaching, background checks, and fingerprinting in Washington, and the process to get your teacher certificate once you've checked all of these boxes. So this information is here for you to check out. Feel free to read through it. And if you're not sure about anything or about something that you read, I'm going to drop an email address in the chat. So you can email that email address, pathways@k12.wa.us, and I can give you general information based on what I've talked about today. And I'm going to pass it over to Nathanie.
Great, thank you, Musta. So you've heard a lot of information so far, and I can see in the chat that there's a lot of specific questions that you all have. I think what's great about today is that we have so many of the district representatives here to answer some of those specific questions that you have. But after your time with us today, and if you continue to have questions, we have a website that will be coming live, hopefully within a week or a few days. We're still working on that. But what I'm going to do is just put the link to the site. So it isn't live right now, but you are able to explore the site. And then once it goes live, it will have a different URL. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen and just kind of walk through it with you. And we're really excited to have it go live. It's been a work in progress, and we're really excited about it. So let me share. All right. Hopefully everyone can see the Grow Your Own Initiative website. Great, thanks for the nod. So you'll see that there are 3 buckets of information here that are really exciting. One is focused on the Grow Your Own and what this initiative is, and is primarily to really increase diversity in the teacher workforce. And we're really excited to have all of you here who are interested. And I think having all of your expertise and your experiences and your stories in the classroom just make students' education so much more rich. So, and then earlier you heard folks mention ECLC, which is the Educators of Color Leadership Community. And so under this tab, you would learn more information about who they are when they meet. And Eileen has a lot of information, and she's a great support for this group of teachers. And so if you have individual questions, that's where I come in. And if you click on, trying to move things around, take the next step on your journey. Things are a little slow. It will take you to a form. So because you have a lot of individual questions and you all have your own experiences and expertise already, my role is to work one-on-one with each of you to understand the context under which you're working or in which you're working, to understand what you're already bringing to the profession. And so what you would do is complete this form, and you can choose the option that represents who you are. So if you're a current student, community member, teacher or mentor, or current district staff or state employee, you can click on one of these options. And then it will just guide you towards completing this form. And because we're working with the 7 districts, it'll ask you to choose which one you're interested in. And if you're not sure, that's completely fine. You can click up to 8 choices, or we can have a conversation about what would be the best fit for you. And then you would click on the educational area of interest that you are interested in, and any comments that you would like me to know. And then you would submit that form, and what will happen is the information will come directly to me, and I will be able to contact you just to follow up on meeting with you. And once the website goes live, there will be a calendar scheduling option for us to set up a time to have a conversation. And this is the part that I love, which is being able to just have one-on-one time with you to hear your stories. Yeah, so we're really excited to have this website go live, and this will be the best way for me to connect you with district folks and to find the best pathway for you and the best program. Yeah, so I think we might have a couple minutes for some question and answer.
Steve, maybe if you have, I know we had a lot of questions in the chat. I don't know, Musta or Nathan, if you happen to see a question you might want to be able to answer, we can do that. Yes, and Nathan, we'll repost that website. And again, it's not live, but we have, if you registered for today, then we have all your emails. And actually I have them because you're on the Zoom link, so I can always find you that way too. But the easiest thing to do is if you registered for today, you'll get a follow-up email. When the site goes live, we will definitely send it to everyone who's on this email, okay? So
yeah,
Mr.
so you're
Nathan,
still,
yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
You're still able to fill out the form today if you would like. But you know, once it goes live, it just has a different URL.
I see a couple of questions in the chat. One person asked about, I think this person's first name is Alyssa. I'm working on my AAS in early childhood education. I currently work as a bilingual paraeducator for Highline School District. And you want to become you're considering the bilingual teaching fellows program. I believe is Highline here today as part of this event. Is that correct? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm seeing some nods. Great. So Alyssa, that's a great question. And I recommend, and Eileen and Nathan, you jump in if I'm saying anything incorrect, but their session will probably be very informative and helpful for you. So I would encourage you to go to that and see, you know, specifically what their program looks like and what the district can tell you about that. So you can try to decide if that's going to be a good fit for you. And I will also, I'll drop both Nathanie and Mai's email, and emphasis on Nathanie's because she's your local person who is going to know way more than I am. I can just give you general stuff. So I'll put that first.
And I see, is it Demi who has her hand up?
Yes, I wanted to ask, so I work in Federal Way Public School District, and I saw that the pathway didn't mention those who didn't have an AA, but who works as a para. So what are our options, or what, steps should we look for, our first steps?
Nathan, do you want to take her question, or should I?
Yeah, why don't you go ahead?
Okay, sure. So I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Demi, is that right? Okay, thank you for your question. So that's a great question. And I think that there may be other people on the call who might be in the same shoes. So I'm glad you asked it. For people who haven't completed their AA yet, or either they've done it, or they're part of the way there, or need to start altogether, I recommend going to your district session later to see if there are any local supports for, supporting you in completing or earning your AA. And then once you have your AA, are there additional supports after that to help you in the process of enrolling in a Route 1 program, to complete your bachelor's degree and earn a teacher certificate so that you can get to that place that you're looking to get to. So generally speaking, there's not a specific route where you like that builds in earning the AA as part of the alternative route program. But one other resource I want to point to on the TeachWA website, there's that page about, oh, I forgot to point to the page about financial supports. So in the teachwa.org website, there's a link that allows you to look up statewide financial supports, like places to get scholarships, places to apply for grants and conditional scholarships. So I recommend that you might look into that page to see if you can apply for one. There's one in particular that's designed to help you earn your associate degree in particular. And I think it's up to $4,000 per year. So click on that link on that webpage. And if you have any trouble finding it, shoot me an email. I'm happy to help you navigate that. I see some other hands, so
maybe we could have Kendra or KO jump in real quick.
Yeah, I was about to say something. So Demi, we actually have a clearer pathway for you for that option. So ARE, we work hand in hand with Seattle Central Colleges. And we have an all faculty of color, but also an all cohort of color of folks that are going through to getting their AA. And then once they get their AA, they have the options to go into programs like CityU, Central Washington Universities, North Seattle, en route to University of Washington, get your master's in teaching. So with your respective district, I can work with them in terms of getting your AA. And then once you complete your AA and ARE, I'm happy to hand off to Federal Way. I think you said that's what you work.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm happy to work with Dan to see what we can do to support you. But I know as far as the AA, in terms of that, we can support you in that. Of course, we'll support you with financial aid, having to do the FAFSA or WASPA, or also with the I'm not going to say the paraprofessional pipeline, but paraprofessional pathway scholarship to that's $4,000 at your disposal. So we can probably get it down to a no cost AA.
Yeah. Can I get your contact information and then the ARE contact information, please?
Yeah, so again, for people who's working at different districts, we want to support you all to get your AA. And then once you get your AA, we want to help you stay in your current district. So that's perfectly fine with us. The ARE is partnering with all these districts. We're a part of Puget Sound Education Service District Collaborative. So we want to make sure we help our partners. And
okay.
So one thing I'm just going to point out here, these are awesome questions. So right after this, we're going to direct you to you can pick 2 sessions to go to this, what we established time for. But I would encourage you to go to your own district session, and then maybe go to the Seattle session because KO will be there, and you can get more information about the ARE program from KO. And then you can also talk to the district you're in currently to see what they would recommend, what they have in place, what resources they have as well. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to take 2 more questions, and then I think we want to make sure we get time for you to go visit your district. So let's do Holly and then Nina.
Thank you. My name is Holly. I am an elementary reading para. I teach in the Title Reading Room with elementary kids. and I am somewhere between a bachelor's and an AA. I have 5 years of college and no degree. So, and I also have 2 teenagers, and I was in a professional, I had a professional career for a long time before becoming a stay-at-home mom. And then I went from becoming a stay-at-home mom into education with my kids. And one of my concerns is, if I go back to school, for those of you who were out, you know, who were in a different profession and then switched, how do you still take care of your kids and go to school and do your job at the same time? How do you manage that work-life balance to being 50 years old and going back to school and taking care of your family at the same time?
Holly, that is such an awesome question. I'm guessing tons of people have that. I'm gonna say, like, maybe in your next session that you go to, that might be a great place to ask that. There might be other folks there who are in your district even, but you heard our panelists say earlier, finding that community of support, helping one another with childcare, helping one another with rides and homework and study groups. So if you meet other folks from your district, that might be a great place to make those connections happen. So I'm going to recommend you ask that same thing again in the next session, okay?
Okay.
Okay, and then Nina, and then we're going to transition, okay? Go ahead, Nina.
Hi, I just had a district question. So, because I grew up in Kent, so my son and everyone has been Kent district. I currently work in the Renton School District, but I am planning to move into Seattle. So are these, I know, are the district meetings going to be recorded?
Oh, that's a really good question. District folks, maybe I'll ask that you record the part that's recordable, and we'll try to make those available. Okay, so stay in touch with us, and we'll share with you as much as possible. And if we for some reason don't have a recording, just reach back out to us, and we'll try to get you the information. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Awesome. Okay, I want to make sure that you have the chance to go to those district meetings. So, Karma, if I say this wrong, jump in, okay? You should have gotten in your emails, and I believe Karma's sticking it in the chat as well. There's a flyer where you can just click on the link, or put it, if you're more comfortable, put in this, you know, go to Zoom and put in the meeting ID of the district that you'd like to visit for this next session. Okay, so your district folks, I believe, are in there right now. Somebody might want to just remind them to record it because maybe they might have already left before we had this conversation. Okay, so if you are confused about that, I'll hang out here for a little bit to make sure people can get where they need to go. But that's what that looks like. So look for that in your emails or in the chat, and go ahead and click on the district you'd like to attend. And then at 5:30, you'll have another chance to go see a different district, okay? So go ahead, and it's time for you to make that transition. And if you have trouble, we'll be hanging out here for a little bit to help, all right? So thanks so much for coming to this first session, and we will see you all hopefully soon.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you to Nathanie and Musta for excellent information. Thanks, Nathanie and Musta.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Karma, did I explain that okay?
Hopefully, if anybody has a question, no worry though. Please let us know. All of the links are in the chat, and it's the same link for 5 o'clock and 5:30.
Okay, I'm gonna check my email and my phone to make sure people aren't calling.
I saw we just got someone new in. So everyone is starting to leave this main session unless you have any questions. But in the chat, for anyone that hasn't received it, is a link to all of the workshops that folks are going to right now. You can click on the district that you want to go see, and you can click a second one at 5:30 to check out a second district.
Well, thank you, Eileen, for having me. I hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much, Yasmin. I just wish that we would have had more time for the panel. I thought you all were amazing. They probably
Thank you. It always goes really fast.
I know, it went so fast. Yeah, thank you, Jasmine.
Thank you, the rest of the team.
Yes.
It was nice to meet you and hear your stories. Thank you so much.
She's the
Same.
best.
Bye.
Yeah. All right, everybody seems to, okay, Lisbeth, do you need help? I think Lisbeth is the only person left from the meeting. So hopefully that means everyone's somewhere.
Yeah. I'll keep checking my email to make sure. I've been getting emails throughout the whole thing of people.
Oh, you have?
But people are really responsive and they're all diving in, so.
Great, yeah.
Hopefully they'll remember to do the survey.
I didn't push that very hard on accident.
Yeah, I forgot to. I can go pop around and be like, don't forget the survey.
Yeah, I can give you the link right now real quick.
Oh, that'd be great. Okay, I need to, do you easily have the program up with the links? Or do I have to go search for it?
Yeah, it's in the chat like 15 times.
Okay. Oh yeah, it is. Okay.
People kept coming in like every 3 minutes. So I was like, I'll just keep reposting this.
Yeah,
I guess,
that was
'cause I know you
smart.
can't see
Yeah.
it.
That was smart.
That was a lot of people.
That was great.
That was great. Y'all's presentation was smooth too.
I know, that was great. And I appreciated KO just hopping in and being like, hey, we're all here to help one another and there's resources everywhere.
Yeah, it looks like there are a lot of folks who are still working on getting their AA or haven't gotten it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad he jumped in because I didn't know that the ARE program provided support for that for people that aren't in their district. I was under the assumption that it was specifically for Seattle Public Schools employees. So that is really great to know because I mean, I'll ask him if it's okay for me to when people email me about, I get random emails regularly. So I would love to make sure people know that that's out there.
I know that they're working with folks starting in high school. I mean, I know a lot of other districts are too. But he's got a connection with a lot of the high school.
That it was trying to specifically target families and volunteers and community members.
Yeah. I just feel like it's just part of KO's, personality to be like, oh, I'm going to stop recording.